Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Small Talk. I'm your host, Sadia Aziz Mohammed, and today I have with me a guest that I've been very excited to host. I have Madam Abba Musa Idris, who's a poet, a journalist, the founder of Noor English classes, and a public speaking and speaking mastery coach. Madam Abba Musa, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's an honor. So please, can you tell us a bit about yourself and the work that you do?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Abba Musa Idris, as you have mentioned, and I had my BA Arabic in Bayero University, Kano. I majored in Arabic and minored in English. I am the founder of Noor English classes, Outdoor Bay Book Club. I've been interested in literature, art, and also personal development or human development. So far, I've been appearing as a guest performer and also overall performer of many events. I've been delivering speeches, especially within the Kano city. I've been on different panels on literature. At the moment, I'm currently working on some of my books on the English language, learning strategies, and also speaking strategies. And my first collection of poetry and short stories is also in the making. So that's briefly about me. I love reading, I love research, I love meeting like-minded people, and I love everything about literature, about art, about human development.
MashaAllah, we're very excited for the books we can read. Right, you mentioned you loved reading, so I want to know what sparks that interest, what sparks the passion for reading?
Well, actually, I think this dates back to my tender age. Since I was born, I might say this. I grew up in a house that was full of books. My father has been, if you like, a linguist. Has been so passionate about language. I remember growing up, seeing my mother writing in Arabic, Sharia, and my father also so vast, teaching people things related to, for example, Arabic literature, Islam history, Islamic history, and so on. So that kind of house that I grew up in, it's kind of sparked, a lot of interest in me. In becoming the person I am today. So I had a lot of reflections, especially some months ago, about how did I come about my desire to read. I think it is from my father and mother. I inherited this from them. This has to go back to our household. I saw books on different shelves. I stole some of them. I'm sorry for using this word. Sometimes we even spar with my father. Hey, where have you kept my book? It is looking for a translation or, for example, for an illustration of a book written about, for example, hadith or about seerah or something like that. If he doesn't find it, he still asks me about it. And up to now, that's what I'm saying. If he doesn't see any of his books, he quickly asks me, where can I get that book? Maybe it is with you. Then I will tell him whether it is with me or not. So things like that. So frankly speaking, it dates back to my early age or my tender age. Yeah, that's it.
That's very beautiful. And how has reading impacted your life so far?
Well, I think for those who know me well, I think when they see me, like they see books. Because I have been an advocate for books generally. This is because books, if you like, have shaped my life that I'm living now. When I was in secondary school, I was so passionate about Arabic literature. And that's what motivated me to study Arabic even during my university years, during my undergraduate. I also started learning English when I was in secondary school. And, we see if you're able to speak a language, if you're able to use a language effectively, then learning a second language or a third language will be much easier. So with my proficiency in English language, I developed a kind of also reading habit. That is, instead of me to focus on reading Arabic books, I also started focusing on reading English books. So books have shaped my life. Books have motivated me to initiate many things. Book have also helped me in understanding who I am. That is how books have been helping me in self-discovery. Not only myself, but also others. The kind of training that I, usually give, I render, the kind of mentoring that I engage myself in, I think, is what books have done to me. They have taught me to be human and humane at the same time. They have taught me to be somebody who loves his society to make a lot of progress. And that's why I've been coming up with many initiatives. So this is one of the things that reading or books, if you like, have done to my life. Books are me and I am books.
Shad, I love that you said when people see you, they see books.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I noticed for Noor English classes.
Yes.
Instead of just teaching people English, you
Yes.
make them read, you turn them into readers.
Yes.
And I found that very interesting. So I want to know, what was the motivation or plan behind that?
Well, actually, the motivation was that, you see, they say if you are going to start any business, it's important to understand what, for example, the people in the business have been doing and where are you coming from. So I did my research. There is one gap that hasn't been filled, which is the, training people to become outstanding speakers, public speakers, per se. So I started Noor English classes with the sole aim of making people outstanding public speakers. That's the sole aim. But for somebody to be a public speaker, he or she should also base their own development in books. And that's my belief. That is why when we started, this, I remember in January 2023, and I kept changing the syllabus that can tidy up with our own vision and mission. Above all, with our own values. So to us, reading is something valuable. We take it as important. And for somebody to be an outstanding public speaker, he should engage himself or herself in reading, because reading gives you access to the language, in a much better way, in an easier way, in a quicker way, if you like. This is my thing. So that's why when we started, we kept developing the stuff. And now at the moment, we have been introducing different types of reading methods, which includes FBR, developed by Stephen Christian, after reading his book that he dedicated to, English teachers or, second language, teachers. So that is why we have been developing the syllabus. Instead of you just to come and learn English and go, you don't know what you're going to talk about. You don't know, for example, different types of concepts that you can explore. People who learn English, that's my observation. People who learn English, for example, end up being good at English, but they have vacancies in their thoughts. When they talk, you will not see substance. There are no good ideas, for example, because they haven't invested a lot in reading. They haven't invested a lot in books. And that is why I said, let's not make this mistake. Let's try and see that anybody who comes to Noor English classes is helped with reading habits, reading skills, and then reading methodologies. And second, this can give him a key to open the door of speaking with mastery, with a lot of skills, and with many adjectives that I can describe. So that's it.
So joining Noor English classes is like maybe killing 3 or more birds at the same time.
Very true. Yes, and we are making progress.
That's nice to see.
Okay.
Abba,
Yes.
you're someone involved in the literary space and the educational space. Have you noticed a decline in reading culture in this our society?
Well, I think I'm going to answer this question with a tinge of ambivalence, because I have to look at it from two angles. First, when it comes to, for example, students that belong to primary and secondary schools, I can say there is a massive decline of reading culture there. But students who, for example, finished their secondary schools, that are doing their diplomas, NCE degree, and so on, I think I can say that the reading culture is not declining. Like there is a kind of progress that we are witnessing. For example, you see that there are so many events that take place within the vicinity that involve, reading. that involve books and book chats. And so there are many events that now they cannot be complete without giving a space for reading for books. If you look at the audience that attend such events, you will see that they are usually not just young, for example, people. I mean, they are not children. They're not focused. They're usually, for example, adults. They finish their NCE or diplomas or degree and so on. So that's what I observed. Therefore, we cannot say that reading culture in the North was declining. If it declined in the past, it has been revived because there are so many campaigns on social media. There are so many campaigns, even offline, that people do. There are so many programs that, many important dignitaries within this important city have been initiating, have been doing. There are so many workshops, training, and so on books, book chats with many authors, the upcoming ones. And there is a kind of way of celebrating even the old writers, those who had written, or those who had written, of course, but maybe the public didn't know about. So I can say that reading culture is being revived by many people now. Therefore, the future is bright.
Right, there's hope. I'm happy about the revival part because, especially between these last 2 years, a lot of events have been happening, as you said.
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned social media, so now I want to know, how do you think, what role has social media done to influence reading habits?
Well, I think social media has been playing a key role in this progress. I can call it renaissance, if you like, quote unquote, renaissance. The renaissance of reading culture in the North, I think, must be attributed to the advent of social media. For example, my book club, ABC Book Club, Cooperative Book Club, initially started on social media. It started with a post where I promised to give people mentoring on reading skills. I said that I would start with by itself. Like, for example, I will give like 20 to 30 minutes a day to some individuals, to one person or a group of individuals. I will give them some guidance on how to read, what to read, and I will solve their problems. So you see, it started on social media, and I kept, taking this campaign seriously, mostly on social media. Before we organize any event, or before we get to sit down and hold an event, we announce it on social media. We started with little, for example, reach, and now the reach is now moving farther and farther and farther. So social media has been playing an important role, and that's why you see many, thought leaders are now using social media to advocate for their ideologies, for their, for example, inspirations, for their thoughts, and for where they want to be. So I think we cannot say that social media hasn't played a part. We can say that social media has been playing a role, that we can give it 80%. 20% is what we do outside social media. Yes.
80% of the revival.
Yes, of course. That's very true. That's very true.
That's nice too. Okay. And you mentioned how, as a child, your love for literature grew because you were surrounded with books, your parents were readers.
Yes.
How do you think parents, guardians, and teachers as well can imbibe this reading culture?
Well, I think even if you as a father or as a mother, you're not a reader, for example, you can help your children with reading culture. Many teachers, especially that belong to secondary school, complain that the biggest problem they get from parents is that they don't motivate their children to embrace reading itself as a culture. Some do not even help them to do their assignments, school activities and so on. So this is one of the things. But if, as a father or as a mother, even if you don't know how to read, for example, you don't have that time for reading, I think you can save your children from what is happening. Because if you don't teach your children to embrace reading culture at the moment, I think many things might happen as we are witnessing in the society. So the role that parents can play is very huge. In fact, they are supposed to be the first motivators. Because if I had grown up without seeing books surrounding me, without having, for example, a father that is passionate about reading, I have been seeing my father coming with books to market. And up to now, he does this. Whenever he's going to market, you could see that there is a book in his bag. He's holding a book. Therefore, if he gets some time at market, he would use it to read. So I kept seeing that, and that developed in me. That inculcated the culture in me. And as a result of that, this is who I become. I'm also passionate about books. I buy them. I discuss books with people. We engage in so many things with books. So parents have a key role in this aspect. If you can help your children by, for example, having a shelf in your parlor, just instead of you to just make your parlor, for example, decorate it with everything modern, why can't you, for example, find a space and also find, for example, a shelf and put books there? Why can't you, for example, provide a cupboard or, for example, bookshelves in your children's room, for example, so that you can engage them in reading? Why can't you motivate your children by, for example, giving them rewards, if you like, incentives that can help them to continue reading? I think even if you're not passionate about that, you can save your children from what is waiting for them if they don't engage in reading by doing these small activities that I have mentioned some examples, earlier on. So the role is huge. And parents first, then teachers second, and then the society. Yes. But if parents fail, if parents don't engage in, for example, motivating their children to read, I think teachers might find it very difficult to persuade those children. Although they spend a lot of time with the teachers, but when they go back home, we should have somebody at home who can keep telling them the importance of reading, who can keep motivating them, incentivizing the reading, making it something enjoyable. Although it is not easy to read, but we can, if you like, galvanize ourselves with reading activities, with reading habits, if we, for example, focus on incentivizing the system. For example, create some rewards for anybody who finishes a book first. And then it creates another, for example, award or reward, if you like, that you would like to give to anybody among them who, for example, after reading the book, sits down and writes a wonderful review, talking about the lessons, talking about the things that he or she has learned from a certain book that they are reading. I think we can incentivize reading in this perspective. We don't have to always be readers, for example, as parents, but even if we are not readers, we can, provide incentives, rewards, and also words of encouragement or motivation to the young generation.
That's nice. I love that you said we should incentivize it.
Yes,
and then the part about writing reviews, because you're teaching them not only to read, but to reflect as well.
Indeed.
What they're
Yes.
And I want you to tell us a bit about what you do at Noor English classes, because I noticed you had a silent reading recently. So all of these activities that people can join.
Yeah. Noor English classes has been an English center that focuses on teaching speaking skills. But when we started, we learned that many people want to start from the beginning. Like, we had to create a literacy class to give a chance to those who want to start from learning reading and writing. So we started from there, and we have also level 1, where a student can freshen and polish up, can learn how to make better sentences. And from there, your journey of speaking will continue, because even in literacy class, there are many, for example, activities that take place that involve speaking at an early stage of learning. So also in level 1. And then from there, you will start to become a more professional speaker. Like, for example, we have speaking proficiency learner, speaking proficiency intermediate, and we have speaking proficiency masterclass. So before a student reaches that level, he or she has to undergo a lot of exercises that involve speaking activities and reading activities. And that's some of the things that we do. The second thing that we look at is that we have our vision and mission. We see ourselves as an English center that has brought a lot of changes in the environment. The changes, are related mostly with the speaking skills. Many people have the ability to read and write, but they don't know how to communicate effectively And the most importantly, if you like, how to communicate, if you like, professional. And that is why we came, right? Now, we understand that for you to become a wonderful speaker, you also need to be a good reader, because that's the argument developed by Stephen Christian, as I mentioned earlier, where he said that if, for example, students can engage in free voluntary reading, that is FVR, that is a kind of reading that we do for pleasure, then they will be able to improve everything about language. And that reading that they do, that reading for pleasure that they do, can take them from the, for example, beginner level to advanced level of learning. This is, a new discovery. I discovered it from that book. And as a result of that, I also came back and looked at my system. I said, okay, now we need to do this now very seriously. So far, we have purchased almost 150 books dedicated to this kind of program. So every student at Noor English classes must engage in reading for pleasure. Well, we have a variety of books. We have genres. Yes, of course. We have fiction, non-fiction. We have, for example, mystery. We have adventures. We have different things. We have books even in Hausa and books in Arabic and so on. But because the target is to improve the language, so the books that we now, for example, showcase are the ones related to what? To English. Therefore, they will be able to choose from, all angles. They are there available. There are books with pictures. There are magazines, if you like, that they can pick up, see pictures, read some caption. Because the belief is that if somebody engages in that reading for pleasure, that reading will help them to improve their spelling. The spelling that people grapple with, for example. Their speaking ability will maximize, because reading gives you sentences that have been well edited. Before a book is published, it has to undergo a lot of process. And all the processes is proofreading and editing. That editing does a lot of work, does the trick, if you like. So if you pick up a book that has been sanitized and you start reading, the more you read, the more you learn, the more you internalize the language in yourself without your knowledge. There is the concept of unconscious learning. I believe that if somebody engages in reading for pleasure, he or she will be learning English unconsciously. So this is a belief. And you see the benefit is that it's not only the linguistic benefit that one can get from that reading for pleasure that we have introduced. It makes them human and humane. This is something good. Because when you engage in reading, it's like you are trying to become humane. You are trying to become merciful. You understand people's problems and you try to help them in solving the problems. And this is what I believe in. And this is what we have been doing at Noor English classes. And that's why we have become so much busy and committed. And I see that when we keep up doing this in the next 5 years, I can see that many students of ours will emerge as wonderful public speakers and book lovers and book readers, book owners, if you like.
That's very inspiring, mashallah. I love lessons thank
you very much.
So far, you've had a lot of advantages of reading. We'll be back after a short break.
Join us as we go beyond the surface to the deeper truths.
All right, welcome back. We're still talking about reading culture and communication with our guest, Madam Abba Musa Idris. All right, my next question is, books are expensive.
Yes.
Especially now. So how can we make them more accessible for people that can't afford them?
Well, I think I have some thoughts. First, there is a need to create many book clubs and forums across the vicinity or across the state or the country. This is because in one of the lectures that I presented recently about the importance or the role of forums in inculcating reading culture, I discussed this, and I learned that many societies started like this. Many famous, known scholars and philosophers started propagating their ideas and ideologies and thoughts from forums. Forums, for example, play a key role in making books accessible to people. For example, in our Abdurabi book club, this is what we're doing. When we started it, I think 2 years ago, there was a book fair that took place in Jos. As a result of that book fair, I think I had to buy almost 100 books for our members. I bought it myself. I could have asked others to help in that, but because I had enough money to buy those books, I provided them and I made them available for every member, even if he is a registered member or not registered member. If, in as much as you are interested in reading, you can come up to our school on Saturdays and Sundays and have access to those books. So this is the importance of book clubs and forums. If forums, for example, are created by a group of people or by one individual, but with the help of others, I think they can unite, they can collaborate, and buy books to, for the people who are less privileged. This is number one. Number two, books are expensive. Recently, we had a discussion with Professor Botmas of Theatre and Performing Arts at the University of Kano. And he brought the idea that why can't we keep sharing the soft copies of books? He said, because these people have done a lot of harm to us. They came and colonized us. That's what he said in his words. So why can't we also use the PDFs of their books? Because how can we afford to pay like 2K, 3K, and so on? Then I said, okay, Prof, I think this is important because many people have phones now. They have smartphones, right? If you have a smartphone, you can try reading using your own smartphone. So if the soft copies are available, then you can try that one too. I think this is the same way, although I don't advocate for that much, because my belief is that when you are reading a physical copy, like the way you engage actively in that reading is even far better than the way you engage in it if you're reading a soft copy. Although there are people who are, for example, computer savvy, people who are so much into the technology, and they get used to it to the extent that they cannot even pick up a book, a physical book, for example, and read. I think they can try force reading on their computers, iPads, and phones. And that's the idea. Book clubs can help. And book clubs can provide accessibility to books to people who cannot afford them. And also, I don't want to say that it is a must to government. But of course, there are, public libraries that are still in existence, although you cannot find most of the contemporary books, but still, those libraries really count because you can find one book or the other. If book clubs can collaborate with many educational institutions like universities, I think there is another additional access to them. At the moment, we are currently working to work with many private universities in Kano. We've even, plan to, start reaching out to them. Oh, some of them are even calling us to come. And what we're planning to do is that we're going to have a collaboration in which our bona fide members of the club can use their ID cards to enter those libraries, especially at the readings. And that's what we're trying to do. So you see, we're trying to provide more accessibility to books. Because our belief is that you cannot say that since you don't have a book to read, therefore don't be a reader. No. We encourage that even if you don't have a book to read, please come. And that's what brought about silent reading. Yes, that's what brought about it, the idea that many people want to see people reading. They don't have books to read, or they have a few, but they are not interested. Remember the idea of reading for pleasure. Then we said, okay, we saw somebody posting about it on social media. Then I said, okay, let's plan something like this. We bought an open space. I brought out books from the library, almost 200 books. I brought them. We spread them. People came. They selected the books that we wanted to read during the first sitting. I still remember. I remember with happiness because it was one of the best moments in my life. I saw people picking books, taking them, sitting down on their, prayer mats, and some sitting down on the grass, on the green grass, reading. We read for almost 5 hours. Wow. And the caliber of people that were there, I couldn't believe my eyes seeing them there. They were there, they committed to it. They brought drinks and snacks and so on. We had an enjoyable moment. And this is the idea. And as a result of that silent reading, we got a lot of boom about the activities. Many people know about it. Many people started organizing it. Recently, there is one man law from Ahmed Bello University, Zaria, who even consulted me about initiating one to ABU, and they did it successfully. And it was from our inspiration. Jigawa also did it. There are so many states that have done it. So I think this is it. Therefore, we can make books accessible through events like silent reading, through forums, and through book clubs.
I also remember seeing the post on Facebook when you guys had the sign reading. And based on the turn up, I was like very happy as well. I felt we had a lot of readers in this very city.
Of course, we have.
It was nice to see.
We have.
Okay. Now I want to go back to public speaking.
All right.
Because you're a public speaking coach and this is all about communication and storytelling. What books would you recommend for someone to be better in these areas?
Well, I think, there are so many books written on public speaking, but if I may recommend, books that one can read and also learn about public speaking, I'll start by mentioning Carnegie Gallo's Talk Like TED. It's one of the masterpieces. I can't put it down. I still go back to it. I read it. I enjoy it. There are so many revolutionary ways of speaking in public, the frameworks that have worked for others, and how instrumental they are in our lives, especially the public speaking life. The second book that I will recommend, those who are into presentations, for example, those holding offices or positions, I recommend Persuasive Presentations. It's a book written by Nancy Duwate. That book is very interesting. It's full of insights on how to give persuasive presentations, because public speaking is all about persuasion. There is the third book that I want to give, but I don't want to be biased. It's a book that I'm currently writing. But I don't want to be biased. Although I cannot say this is a title for now, but I think I'm trying to go back to many public speakers, starting from the famous writer on public speaking. You remember the famous writer on public speaking? The one who wrote Effective Public Speaking. I forgot his name. This very famous author, this initiator, this pioneer. Oh my God, I forgot his name. This very famous author of public speaking, who started writing about public speaking. Yeah, dating back to many years, 200 years ago. I don't know, not 200 years. I forgot his name. Oh my God, it is on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, but I'm talking about, there are books on public speaking. So I went back to the past, and I also traced it up to the present. I'm trying to learn what frameworks did work for others and what don't work. So my plan is that I want to give an insight into the public speaking activities, but I want to talk about something very important, which is speaking proficiency. Many people have problems with speaking proficiency, not public speaking. Yes, public speaking comes at an advanced level. If somebody's English is not very fluent, for example, then he or she should begin from there. Instead of them to focus on the art of speaking, the body language, the storytelling, and so on, I think they need to start working on the language. Their ability to understand the language can help them to excel on the account to improve their public speaking skills. So I divided the book into these parts. First, the proficiency level, and then moving on to the public speaking skills and presentation skills. So these are the three books that I recommend, but I don't want to sound biased. The last one is mine.
Okay. Yeah. And do you have a name for it, or not yet?
Any?
The name for it.
Okay, no, I think I will title it later, because I tried many titles. So I want to give a simple title, a title that can stand out.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, sure.
If you had to convince someone to start reading,
yes,
what books would there?
Wow, this is a very difficult question. Well, I think it depends. There were some mistakes that I made when I started reading that I don't want anybody who is about to start to make. One of them is that I don't have to say that you have to read a certain genre at the moment. I think if I recommend any book, I would start by asking the person about the genre that he or she is most interested in. I would describe the genres. Okay, we have fiction, we have non-fiction, we have mystery, we have adventures. Which one do you think you want to read? I will start from there. Sometimes I will just bring books that are for beginners. There are many books for beginners. Some of them have pictures. They look like a magazine. So I will bring them up. Okay, so please, I want you to pick any book and start reading. The one you enjoy. Tell me, why do you enjoy it? So from there, I will keep giving guidance. But there are some books that I recommend any reader, whether you are starting today or you have become, an avid reader. I want you to, look into them. One of them is Pride and Prejudice. An interesting book written by Jane Austen. I think that book will trust, but I don't want you to read the enlarged edition. I want you to read the abridged edition of that book. So read it because you will learn a lot about language, about storytelling, about 19th century, and also about the beginning of English novel. Because it started in the 18th century with Daniel Defoe's, and that comes to my second recommendation. I would like you to read Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe is an adventure. Yes. So you see, you read fiction, and here is an adventure. That book will change a lot of things about your life and the way you think. It's not just a book about adventure; it's a book that will change the way you think, that will improve you in person, and that can take you to different levels of life. And now, if I am to recommend the third book, then I would say you should read Chinanika Kamaninga, written by the late Bashir Tofa, Alhaji Bashir Tofa. That book too is written in Hausa, and you should read it. And there are other books that Magana Charity and so on that if I were given a chance, I will mention like. But of course, you can read the film. I recommend it.
Thank you. Those are really nice recommendations. Speaking about genres,
Yes.
do you think there's a particular genre that people need to read more of? They're not represented well enough.
Well, you see, there's this thing that has been, nagging me in my mind. That's some sort of readers have this taste for books. They will start telling you that, books that focus on self-help aren't original books. I find this argument discouraging. How on earth can you say that? Now, depending upon where you are coming from, but sometimes people have been victimized by the ideology that some books are more important than others. I don't subscribe to this argument. I recommend reading generally, but people shouldn't overlook the importance of reading self-help books. And let me tell you what they do. Self-help books can help you a lot. When you read fiction, they can help you to conceptualize the fiction that you're reading, to use it, personally, so that it will make a lot of impact on your life and in the life of others. And that's what they have been doing to me. The ideas that I'm bringing out about reading, about, changing the society or helping others to grow have come from self-help books. When I first started creating content on social media, I did a lot of courses and I read Contagious, and that book changed my perception about why information goes viral, why the content we create, for example, goes viral. I learned a lot about that. So if you say don't read self-help book, it's like you are denying people a lot of pleasures. So people should read fiction, people should read non-fiction, and people should read self-help books. Among the self-help books, there are books on business. I've been saying this, many people are backward, are not fast forward in their thinking because they don't engage their reading books about the contemporary business, what is happening. For example, if somebody reads business strategy written by Brian Tracy, for example, that person will understand that, okay, that actually my business requires me to invent a strategy that can work. Because reading that book, I learned a lot of things about how to strategize whatever I do. Now I don't do things just on the heck of it or on the heck of it. I do things strategically. And I got my ideas from that book too. And there are so many books that one can read. There are self-help books. So read fiction, read non-fiction, biographies, autobiographies, memoirs, magazine, and newspapers, and then read self-help books too. There are good books. For example, James Clear's, Atomic Habits, The Alchemist, for example, one of my favorite books. Yeah, of all time. I forgot to mention it. Oh my goodness. And also, there are so many books that you can read with regard to self-help books. Therefore, read them, understand them, and then try to put what you have learned into practice. And this is the most difficult. Put what you have learned into practice, and don't forget to join a book club, to join a forum that encourages reading, where you'll meet people who are like-minded, because reading in solitary space doesn't allow you to outgrow. But when you meet people who are like-minded, you'll be able to understand a lot of perspectives about the same text that you have read. And from there, you will grow, you will outgrow, and you will become successful.
Thank you. I'm very happy you mentioned the whole debate about fiction and non-fiction.
Yes.
I'm very happy you learned that.
Yeah.
So for my final question, is there anything you want to say to anyone who's, whether it's a reader, non-reader, what's your final advice?
Well, our society is going through too much hardship. Not only our society, but the human race. Environmental scientists were asked a question, or the course itself, or rather the field itself was asked a question. Who is the most dangerous thing on earth? Yeah. And he says, humans. Human beings have been committed a lot of things, been doing a lot of negativities. But we should understand that human beings too have been doing a lot for the good of the society, things that can help the society grow and thrive. So my request to all of us here is that instead of us to help the society to destroy, let's help the society to grow through the advocacy for reading. Please, even if you are not a reader, understand that the people who read are people who have their own professions. They are not jobless. They have their works. They have their jobs. They have their roles to play. Consider them as important people. Help them with whatever you have possible. Connect them with others that can help them promote what they are doing. This society can develop and can overdevelop through enlightenment, through new pieces of information, through reading and through readers. And if this society is dominated by readers, I hope and I see that the future that is coming is very bright. Therefore, help readers, help your children to become readers, help your wife or wives to become readers, help everybody to get access to knowledge. And that knowledge is key to success and is key to happiness. These are the final words.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
last but not least,
yes.
This season our theme is service and self-development.
Is what?
Service and self-development.
Yes.
And this episode you covered everything. Like, I'm very happy with your responses.
Yes.
So I want to know, what does service mean to you?
Well, I think service to me, I think means that I sacrifice something that I have for others to benefit and grow. Service means, dedicating my life to others so that it is not the only me that people see. It is also others that we see. I use service to see that I help the human race, regardless of their genders, their ethnicities, their religion. I just want to see the human beings, achieve a lot, realize who they are, and then uncover their hidden potentials. So service means a lot of things to me, but the key word is service to me is a sacrifice.
The work that you do is a great service to society. We'd like to thank you and hope
It's a great pleasure.
you go higher than you ever
Inshallah.
imagined. Thank you so much for
It's my
coming.
pleasure, and thank you very much for hosting me. It's an honor, and of course, I enjoy it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alright, thank you guys for listening. I hope you will go and look for those book recommendations and you learn a lot from this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.